Hey everybody, Viktor here. Let's get started with a nation guide for Manchuria. Now, Manchuria is a slightly different tag for me to talk about because I'm actually going to be talking about multiple tags that you can use to form Manchuria first. Now, while Jiangsu is going to be the focal point of this guide afterwards, I wanted to start actually with Korchin. The reason why is Korchin has a couple of different strategies you can choose to go with. And it's going to be based around, well, the fact that you start off not being a tributary of Ming, but bordering them. This means that Ming, very early on in the run, is going to politely invite you to become a tributary, which, if you say no, they will invade you and make you become one. And this can play to your advantage. You see, you can say either yes or no. If you say no, you can ally with the Oirats and take advantage of them to try and beat Ming, basically in an early death war. So what are you doing in this case? See, Ming has about 100,000 troops. Oirat and their vassal plus you would have about 40,000. So you're outnumbered, but Oirat is a nomad, meaning their cavalry will do 50% more damage as long as it is flat terrain. And flat terrain is all this yellow, this green, this green, this green, but not brown, or this blue. Meaning you just need to make sure you take fights here. This map mode is amazing if you're going with this strategy. Keep it on and use it to try and pick the best fights and drag Oirats in with you. The other thing that happens is, whether Oirat is the war leader or not, they also get an event, which makes Ming's emperor here a general, which they will attach to an army. If Oirat is able to beat that general in battle, they end up capturing him, which triggers two more events. The first one, Oirat will get 20% more morale of armies, meaning they do a lot more damage, and they'll have more morale, meaning they're pretty much going to win most fights. But Ming also loses 20 mandate. And if you look at these debuffs, they're going to be in a lot of pain, especially since they'll take 50% more damage on top of Oirat's 50% more damage, and you'll also get that 50% more, meaning they're going to start getting stack wiped a lot. They're also going to get minus 50% manpower, so this regeneration of manpower of theirs, it's going to get cut down in half. Meaning they're going to be in for a world of hurt very, very early that it's going to be very difficult for them to recover from. On top of that, once the Emperor is captured, if you're able to take Beijing here, then all of the land to the north will end up instantaneously falling to you. It will in particular fall to Oirats, but if you are the war leader, they will hand over a section of it straight to you, because unless they want the land, they are not going to hold on to it. Meaning you can simply go in, mark all the land you want, and they'll hand it over. And suddenly, if you're the war leader, you can peace out Ming, take all the land you want over here, and Oirats will be fine with it. It's a defensive war. They weren't promised land. Once you're done doing that, and Ming has been partially bankrupted, has Beijing gone, so their mandate is going to slow, if not reverse, meaning they're going to be in a lot more pain soon, you are then able to go after all the non-tributaries of the north, consolidate there, and then attack tributaries to pull Ming in again, and keep taking money out of them to slowly destroy that mandate so they end up exploding. And once they do, you clean up the mess. And that is Korchin aggressively in a nutshell. The other option is Korchin passively. When they offer you the tributary status, you take it. Then it's going to play out similar to the Jiangsu strategy, however you have another advantage. Namely, Oirat and Ming are probably still going to go ahead and fight each other. When they do, Oirat, because it's AI, is going to have some problems. And while they're being attacked by Ming, you attack them as well for lands in Mongolia, who is their vassal. Meaning you're able to take about half, a little bit more than half of Mongolia to build up a very large power base up here before you then consolidate all over this. And that's the other option with Korchin. So why is this high risk, high reward, especially the aggressive strategy? The reason why is because, well, Oirat and Ming are both AI. Now, the second option, the passive one, you're kind of relying on Ming, who's dumb, to beat up Oirat, who is also dumb, but maybe a third of their strength. So Ming is a much more reliable bet. By going the aggressive strategy, you are hoping that Oirat is intelligent enough or capable enough to actually engage where there's flat land, to actually engage the right army with the Emperor on it, to win that fight, and then to help you siege Beijing and continue the war as is necessary. This is a lot of trust you're putting in the AI that may not pay off. As such, you may have to do this 99, 100, 200 times to get it to work. I will say that if you can get it to work, it feels immensely satisfying punishing Ming for being so aggressive, because they're just such mean people. Now, Zhangzhou, as well as Aishi or Korchin, because all three of these, once they become tributaries, it's the same thing. But Zhangzhou is the superior option here for one reason, and that is right over here. You start with a navy. Now, this navy is not exactly the thing you want to have around. You're not actually going to win any wars because of this navy. The reason this is advantageous is actually from the estates. If you look, you got none. You have no burger loans because you have no burgers. You are burgerless. You want a McDonald's, but you don't have one. Instead, you have nothing but tribes. Now, just to cover it, this is what I recommend you do. You can sell titles if you want for about 100 ducats. Until you're actually low on money, don't do it. Why would you? You can go ahead and not take the penalties and then take this when you're actually about to take a loan and not have to worry about it. But these are the privileges I give. I give autonomy for loyalty because, of course, it's better to have them loyal than not. But then I have this primacy of the bannerman. This will reduce the number of banners you have by 25%, which at the beginning of the game is 1. You're 1 unit short. However, you have 10% more morale of armies. Now, you can choose to hire another banner before you give this. So, go ahead and do that if you want to kind of cheese it a little bit. I don't. So, your call there, but it doesn't really matter. So, what are banners? Just to quickly divert into that, banners are like Cossacks. You have a certain amount based off of your force limit. In this case, you start off with 4. Once I reduce it by 1, you have 3. And you recruit them, but unlike Cossacks, instead of you getting a shock damage buff, you get discipline. You have 5% discipline, so they work kind of like Janissaries. But here's the thing. It costs you corruption to build them. However, they take no manpower. Meaning, these guys spit out, it's not going to take any manpower to reinforce them. It's not going to take any manpower to recruit them whatsoever. The problem is they take 50% longer to reinforce, meaning it's going to take longer for them to get those units in there to make a full-strength regiment. And if you look, you pay corruption. The corruption here is based off of how much of your force limit each of those units are. So the higher your force limit, the amount of corruption per unit will go down. But if you hire a full line of them, it should still cause the same amount of corruption. So don't be afraid of the corruption somehow getting out of control from these guys. But just to cover the general idea, because I want to cover this now because I won't remember to cover it later. When it comes to banners, because they take longer to reinforce, the idea here is to try and make an army, eventually at least, comprised of banners. You are a country that is able to have a lot more extra banners. Sorry, not banners. Extra cavalry in your army, especially if you go in here and you check no syncretic faith. This will make your units cheaper to maintain and give you another 25%, meaning you'll have 75% of your front line able to be cavalry. Your cavalry will help break the enemy in that first engagement, and then afterwards you retreat them back. After that, you fight them with normal units while the banners recuperate. And then once they're in, you come back in and you smash their army again, hopefully stack wiping them. And that is the point of banners, to use them to smash the enemy and fall back while keeping up the pressure with non-banners. So, Navy, what is the point of it? Not much. You don't need a Navy. You're not going to be invading Korea with a Navy because you can invade it on land. You're not going to be invading Japan anytime soon, and maintaining it even while mothballed is not worth your money and not worth your time. What is worth your money and is worth your time is going around here and selling your ships to whoever will end up taking them. So simply go in here, find who will buy what at the best price you can. In this case, I can sell him a light ship for 10 ducats. Sold. Donghai, I probably won't be able to sell anything to him. Oh, nope, I can sell him a light ship. And this is all you're doing. You're using your diplomats, at least for the first month, to do this because you don't need them for any other reason. Just get rid of these ships. Get as much money as you possibly can and get rid of them. Even if the AI ends up deleting them, it's fine for you. Get your army together, consolidate it, and put your general in charge of the army, and you can unpause. The reason why you can unpause is because the only rivals you're going to get are Korchin, because they're pretty much always going to rival you, and Haiji, because they're probably going to be your early expansion. Whether they are or not kind of depends, but it's a good enough example. Once the diplomats come back, I'm going to be able to see if anybody else wants to buy any ships. Do this before you end up declaring, because if you can get another 10 ducats from somebody, great. If you can't get any more, that's fine. But it's better to make sure you can sell them before you end up declaring, because it would be really bad to lose 10 ducats and have to destroy the ship when you could have made 20. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and reduce this by 1. And there we go. Oh, nope. You'll only take... Oh, they're galleys, that's why. And the rest of these I can go ahead and get rid of. Then I wait for the guy to come back. Oh, no, I have a diplomat, never mind. And I look at who I'm bordering. One of them is going to be an easier target. Usually Udege here. If they're a target, you're going to declare on them and you're going to take them out. Go with Tribal Feud. If you look, you get less aggressive expansion. So, yeah, take that. Don't take Conquest. It's not worth it. If you can get claims on them through a mission, through a diet mission, great, but you're not declaring for it. And now I'm simply going to walk up here, wipe them out, carpet siege them, and piece them out, taking all their land. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording so I can do that real quickly. I'll be right back. And welcome back. So, this is one of the other reasons why Jiangsu here is a good option. They just got declared without allies by Ming to force them into a tributary status. Declare a humiliation war. Ming will take care of their army. Once you're done, you walk in, you full occupy them, and you show strength for 300 free monarch power with no real effort. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording again. I'll be right back. And welcome back. As you can see, it's over. Gonna go ahead and piece them out. I'm going to take the show strength, free monarch power, because hoorah. And now I'm moving out. So then I look at simply who's next. As you can see, Solon here is being attacked, or they attacked somebody. Yeah, they're defending, which means this guy's also defending. And yeah, Yaren is solo. So what I do is I simply gather my forces. If this is the same for you, yeah, there's a relatively easy target here. So what you do is you just run in here and you try to knock him out. Oh, looks like he got wise. That's fine. And that's all you do. It's more blitz maneuver, so you can help consolidate. As far as Donghai here, you can choose to co-belligerate him or not. In this case, I would probably wait for Yaren to get done with their dumb thing up here. Or I can also just simply co-belligerate them too. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to, in fact, go ahead and do that. And if it looks like they might have the advantage in this... Oh, it looks like Oirat would come in. Never mind. They might have the advantage in this, but if I instantaneously wipe half of this, it becomes far simpler, especially when Yaren is, you know, having their own problems. And I'm going to go ahead and engage this. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording again because, yeah, again, it's not exactly fun to watch somebody siege down provinces. That's mainly what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. I will see you guys in just a few minutes. And welcome back, everybody. So at this point, it's actually time to cool the heels. You see, up here in Solon, they don't have an ally, or at least not an ally that's going to matter, because I've already fought him. And he shouldn't really even have enough dev to really stand much of a fight, and I can full annex in the next war. The thing is that once you have 20 provinces, that's all you need. You just need to be able to have the core of 2 very particular provinces in here, and I already have them. Specifically, I have the one that's flashing, and then this one right here. So I start with one, just got one from Haixi. I'm able to form Manchu, and this will give me a bunch of cores on Solon, on Donghai, on Korchin, even on the Nivk, whatever the guy up here is called. He ended up moving over here. But at this point, if you look, I have a lot more force limit. I got money, because, yeah, I do recommend burning it down, by the way, using the raise mechanics. While I know a lot of people would say not to do it because it's also Manchu land and it's dev and yada yada yada, it's a lot of monarch points, and yeah, I'm ahead of tech with mill tech. I'm very much ahead of mill tech against Ming, and that's the point. Keeping that advantage is something you're going to need to do. There is, however, another group around you that, well, you can expand into to get some more dev behind you, and they're to your south. They're Korea. So you can either tribal conquest, or you can rival them like I did and use that for more show strength. It's kind of up to you with the way you do it. Before you do, make sure you build up a larger army than 14,000. I'd recommend a full stack, 20. However, as far as the cavalry is concerned, you probably don't need more. But always build up to the number of banners that you have. So for my case, 2 more. I'm going to let them start to tick up, and I'm probably going to just pop down a few more infantry. And there we go. At this point, I'm simply waiting to attack Korea, which is when I actually have the numbers out. And then I'm going to take land, humiliate, take money, all that normal stuff. And once I'm able to form Manchu, I will do so. Interesting. Okay. Here's the key difference. If you notice, Ming is still perfectly fine with me doing what I'm doing. I keep giving them the tribute. You need to do so as well until their mandate down here ends up going very much down. They're going to end up taking one of their edicts, the reforms, and it's going to cost them enough of this to drop them below 50. Once you're able to do that, you're able to actually start fighting them. Though, try and get to Manchu before then, and as you can tell what I'm doing with my diplomat, try and get Oyer out on your side, especially as if you can see here, they are not actually a tributary of Ming. Meaning, they haven't fought them yet, meaning that event has not fired. Meaning you can very easily use it to break Ming. So if you have this in your situation, fantastic. Take advantage of it. If not, okay, moving on. So I'm going to go ahead and, unfortunately, sorry, again, pause the recording because, again, time to attack Korea. In fact, before I pause it, I wanted to show you how you're supposed to. I see new people do this all the time. They'll run down into the Korean lands and start attacking them here in the mountain areas. Just sit back and wait for them to try and cross. They can't move that far up here, and they'll try and move here, but yeah, mountains, all that. But they will eventually try and move around, and then they're in grasslands. Here's grasslands, and if I can catch them, it should be a stack wipe. Come on. There we go. And Korea's going to have to replace their entire army, because there we go. And now I can move down and start actually sieging them out. And just simply send enough to actually siege them out, so about 7,000, and then when they go to attack it, you move the rest of the army in to back them up. And that's how you beat Korea. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it again. See you guys in a few minutes. And welcome back. So, can you guys tell who wasn't watching for naval invasions behind his lines? But either way, take the money, take this line of provinces because it gets rid of the fort. You can just take the fort if you really want to, but the aggressive expansion's virtually nothing. Humiliate and peace out. This should give you almost 100% power projection, maximum prestige. With the quick wars that you've been having, pretty high army tradition, meaning your morale is exceptionally high. I mean, you really are pretty high up there. Give me 1 second. And let's see here. Military quality. Best morale in the world. By far. And that's about what you're trying to accomplish here. Get to the point where you have such massive a morale advantage, you can just walk through and largely do what you will. So at this point, I am able to click the button. When this comes up, of course, take it. And yeah, just raise what you can, core it, move on. Shouldn't be that expensive, but it gives you a fort that'll now block off Korea from doing anything either this direction from this mountain fort or this direction from this mountain fort, meaning Korea is much easier to handle in the future, and you don't need to even worry about anything because you can pretty much reach everything but this little subsection down here in terms of their country. And now I'm basically going to walk up here, get my cores, because I have cores now. It's one of the few formable nations that you can just get straight cores. So absolutely take advantage of them. Finish consolidating up here, ally myself to Oirat, and get ready for my fight with Ming. Again, the fight with Ming happens once they take any reform. Any of them. The reason why is it'll drop this, and then at that point it becomes if I can just knock them down. Just enough to be under 50. So let me go ahead and start moving, and I will declare this. I don't even need to co-belligerate him, I believe. Nope, no I do not, so I'm going to go ahead and declare this, even though I'm not in position, because I don't need to. So at this point, I believe I'm just waiting on the Korchin truce, which will be in 4 years, which I can probably do post-fight with Ming and be fine. Because now I have Oirats, I have my own troops, I believe I'll be able to get at least another 10. Nope, 5 at this point. Meaning I'll be able to have a large enough army to shatter Ming. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, sorry, pause the recording, because I'm going to get to the point where I'm actually fighting Ming, because this can take a bit, because it depends on how long the AI wants to sit there waiting on its mandate before they finally take it. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back. So, war's not done yet. However, Ming did the crazy thing and actually declared on Oirat, late as they were. So I'm going to let that expire because they still haven't... Nope, now they took the celestial reforms. So, unfortunately, I was waiting and I thought it was going to take a couple more months for them to do it, and they might not if I actually go into the fight. No, unfortunately, it didn't happen this time, but once I'm done with this, I can then turn around and declare on Ming. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause again for half a second because it'll be quicker for you guys, and then I can show you basically how to fight Ming. Even though I'm low on manpower, shouldn't be a problem. See you in a second. And welcome back. So I'm almost ready to declare. They're still fighting Oirat. I ended up allying Ashikaga, but unfortunately Ashikaga doesn't feel like coming in because they don't owe them. They don't owe me favors, apparently. That's what it takes. But I can go ahead and declare. I just need to first scornfully insult Ming, and then I should be able to at least avoid some of the problems of doing this. Now it is ready. I will say wait until you form Manchu for one very important thing, and that is you get in your ideas the ability to have an extra line leader shock, meaning you can have very strong generals because you have army tradition. So don't be afraid to roll them right now. It's not that bad. And now I am basically at war with Ming to get my cores back as Manchu. Right here. As far as how to beat them, keep in mountains like this. You do not have the, you do 50% more damage in flat terrain. You are not a horde. So you are going to have to move into the grasslands because you won't end up taking a penalty there. But if you can get them to fight you in the mountains, perfect. Absolutely take it. Just remember, they get a penalty here for the scaled modifier, so they'll take increased shock damage. I think it's at this point 27% more damage, giving you a much easier chance at just stack wiping them. So I'm going to go ahead and start moving my guys around. I believe you guys should be able to beat this fight. I don't think I need to get into the how you reinforce. However, for the very simple idea of it, keep your forces nearby if Ming comes up, because they have a lot of troops. This is going to be a very, very hard fight if you are not prepared for hard fights. Because you are going to be murking up. You are going to be using banners. You are going to be using everything you possibly can to win this. The only advantage you have is you have a lot of damage behind you. And if you notice, I have not taken a mission. The reason why is once I actually get to the point where I'm going to be fighting them is when I end up taking it. Not before. And I recommend you don't either. Specifically, as you'll be able to tell, I should be able to get into the fight with them up there in Jilin. This will give you 10% more shock damage, meaning you're able to do a lot more damage to them. On top of that, if you go down here, you'll have another one where you'll get a very good general, not as good as what I have, but a very good one with siege if you don't have it, plus more morale of armies. Meaning, now you're there too. And welcome back. So, if you guys hear meowing in the background, that's a kitten I found during that war. So apparently now I have a cat, at least for the night, until I can find its owner. Now, this is the end result. I'm getting my cores back. I'm getting a lot of money. I'm no longer going to be a tributary, so now basically I can now punch Korchin or Korea, which will call in Ming, which then I can punch more money out of, and basically, yeah, they're not allowed to take loans. So I just need to keep punching them for money, because eventually that'll break them entirely. Because, yeah, they're not going to be gaining a whole lot, and I'll be able to get them simply by going this route. Well, in this case, they're allied to Oirat, but this route works too. And this one, Ashikaga will come in with, meaning they're going to have all their ports blockaded, and I will have a bunch of a vassal swarm ready to come in and just have fun with Ming. I just need to have the truce expire, so cooling my jets until then. So as far as it comes to Qing, once you become Qing, it is quite simply the same thing. You're punching through into Ming, and at that point you have the Emperor of China, which means you have the unification of China CB. Simply follow your mission tree. It'll take you exactly where you need to go. Honestly, that's about it. Just, at this point, just follow this mission tree. If you want to make certain that you have Korchin or Korea, for instance, before you take on Ming, it's effectively the same thing. If you didn't notice, yeah, the mandate didn't really increase that much. It's because of the devastation, the corruption, the fact that they didn't own or control Beijing there for a little bit, because I had occupied it, but what Oirat was doing was basically causing devastation, which slowed them down. So they'll be at 20, and it'll take a while before they start creeping back up, so you have time to wait for those things to expire. But, yeah, at this point, I just find rivals as I need to. In this case, Korea's fine enough for me. And I use them to bring in Ming, and Korchin to bring in Ming, rack up their debts, which will plummet their mandate to the point where I can just walk all over them. Last thing I want to point out, when you have low manpower, remember that you can always recruit more banners, because they do not require any manpower. They do hit you for corruption, but after the first engagement, if you need more infantry or more something to fill in those gaps, you can consolidate and recruit more and try and get more back out into the field to at least keep your army intact, and then simply shove your banners out there. Because It doesn't matter if they're recruiting or if they're retraining or getting their manpower back on one or two of them in the back or in the front in the actual army. So just consolidate them out and recruit them again because they're in the back. That way you'll at least have your troops in the banners consolidated to keep fighting. That is also an option. So at this point, I'm going to leave this guide where it is. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I will absolutely be making more of it. If you have a particular nation or a mechanic that you need to have done, leave it in a comment below. I'd be more than happy to do it. Also, join the Discord. The link is in the description. I'd love to have you guys there. I'll probably even be posting pictures of the cat for you guys. But other than that, thank y'all for watching. Have a great day.